All this while it was not recording. Huh? Guys, did you people notice it or not?
No, ma'am, it was not.
See, if you people notice it is not recording, please let me know. I thought it was recording and somebody have stopped it. Don't stop recording. Okay, now, if it is not done, I will take up one session on that, because without understanding that cracking, you will find difficult. Why? The shear part and the cracking part, deflection will be difficult to understand. Okay, so let me do a session on that also. Now you understand now what is collapse and what is serviceability. Fine. Now, this method is based upon the probabilities, variation in the loads and material properties. As I told, a different load will be considered. It will not consider all the loads as one load. Different load, different partial safety factor. Okay, different material. Which each material will have their own safety factors. Okay, they consider all the possibilities. Limit state method takes into account the uncertainties associated with loads and material properties. Thus, uses partial factor of safety to obtain design load and design stresses. Okay. Now, if I tell you the load applied on the beam is 5 kilonewton, the design of a structure will not be designed for 5 only. They will multiply that factor with the factor of partial safety factor. Then they will consider. Okay. Not only that, when they do so, they'll take the material also. If they in the material, if they're considering steel separately and concrete separately, accordingly they will take the factor of safety. Okay, partial safety factor. The partial safety factor, I'll just go through that. Okay, the next slide we have, what is that? Limit state method is based on prediction, unlike working stress method, which is determined in nature, assumes that the loads, factor of safety and material stresses are not or known actually. Okay. Now, in working stress method, what it says is, it says loads and stresses are already known. Okay. It doesn't consider the uncertainties. That means it says already known means it will assume some load. It assumes in such a way that the load will never exceed this particular load. When the design is done, they will assume some load. Let us assume. Okay, let us think. While designing a beam, while designing a slab, they will assume some load. They will design in such a way that the load coming on that after it is designed and putting it in a use, that the load, actual load will never cross this design load. That is what it is done in working stress method. But in limit state method, they don't take that. Okay, what they do is they will take factor of safety. Okay, factor of safety, they will know the limitations. Fine, factor of safety and all possible loads they will take with the factor of safety, and this total load will be much below the fracture load, much below the fracture load. So there is always a safety factor in terms of stresses, in terms of material strength, both together. In this limit state method, the partial safety factor are derived using probability and statistics and are different for different load combinations, hence giving a more rational and scientific design procedure. Now, what is this load combinations? Load combination is nothing but when the design is carried out, they will not design only for live load, they will not design only for dead load. Okay, they take both together, live load plus dead load. These are the basic two loads. There are many other loads like natural loads, earthquake load will be there, wind load will be there, If you are constructing a structure in a hilly areas or snowy region, snow load will be there. Like that, many other loads will be there. They consider every load and they give the design. Now, it uses multiple factor safety or partial safety factor for the required safety and serviceability at the ultimate load and working load respectively. By considering all limit state, they are called as partial safety factor. Okay, why it is called as partial safety factor? They will give limitations for everything. It is like your father and your mother. Your mother will restrict in every stage. No, don't do that. Don't do this. She will keep on yelling at you people. But what your father does, is easily, slowly, he will tell you, please carry on. I'll take care of your mother. Right? So same concept here also. So your partial safety factor is like your mother. She will restrict in every point. You see, there is a restrictions. I'm not telling this for all the mothers. Okay, majority of them will do that. Will do that. Okay, you eat, there is a restriction. You sleep, there is a restriction. For everything, there is a restriction. Okay, the same thing here also. There is restrictions for all the materials used. That is how the safety zone is more in limit state. Okay, safety zone is more in limit state. So they don't reach that. They will not cross that safety zone for the collapse. Partial safety factor for materials. The strength of concrete in actual structure is taken as 0.67 characteristic strength. Okay, you remember this 0.67 that we will discuss in analysis how it varies. Okay, this 0.67 we will see how it is considered. It is again along considering with 0.2% of true stress. So many things are there. We will see how it is done. 0.67. What they do is they will not consider 1. They will consider only 0.67. Okay, 1 is 100%. 0.67 is 67%. Why it is 67%? We will see. That there is a derivation for that. Why it is taken? Fine. We will see how it is 0.67. 0.67 characteristic strength. Okay, that is 0.67 times of FCK. The partial safety factor. See, now partial safety factor under ultimate limit state it is different. Under service limit state it is different. For concrete under ultimate limit state it is 1.5. Okay, and for steel it is 1.15. The value is higher for concrete as it is expected to have more variable compared to steel. Variability because it is again a heterogeneous material. Okay, composite material, right? Different materials are togetherly forms the concrete. That is why variability is more compared to that of steel. Partial safety factor under serviceability state for concrete and steel is taken as 1. This is taken as unity as we are interested in estimating the actual deflection and our crack width during service load. Okay. Now, partial safety factor. As I told you, there is a different combinations. When you go for combinations, for ultimate state design, we have, this is a load which is designed 1.5 times dead load plus live load. Okay, 1.5 times dead load plus live load and 1.5 times dead load plus earthquake load. This is QL is earthquake load, or 0.9 times of dead load plus 1.5 times of earthquake load. These are the load combinations what we consider in the design, or 1.2 times of dead load, live load plus earthquake load. Okay, and see, when you do the combinations, you can't add all for example, all the loads together. For example, if they've given dead load, live load, earthquake load, snow load, wind load, you can't take all the loads together. Why? Because if there is an earthquake, you don't find wind. This is how the nature behaves. Okay, if there is too much of wind, usually earthquake is not expected. That is how, depending upon the nature's behavior, okay, the combinations are arrived. That we will see. When you go for a design, in a higher end, you will come across all these combinations. The load factor of 1.2 is considered for the combination of 3 because the probability of 3 loads reaching its peak together are less. You understand? When you take 1.2, the combination of this together reaching a peak is less. Similarly with other type of loads. So for serviceability limit state, it takes 0.1 into dead load plus live load, 1 into dead load plus earthquake load. Okay, 1 dead load plus 0.8 times of live load plus 0.8 times of earthquake load. Why? Again, because it will not reach the peak at a time. The load factor is taken as 0.8 in the third because as the probability of wind, okay, it's WL, okay. Wind load and earthquake load acting with the peak of live load is very less. As I told, all the together will not reach the peak in one stretch. For all the cases, the safety factor is taken as 1 as we are considering the serviceability of structure here. Here, DL stands for dead load, LL stands for live load, and QL stands for earthquake load or wind load. See, they will not take earthquake plus wind load. As I told you, earthquake and wind rarely occur together. Okay, they rarely occur together. They will not occur in one stretch. Okay. Now, with this discussion, can you tell me the difference between working stress and limit state method? This working stress method, this method is based on elastic theory, which assumes that concrete and steel are elastic and the stress strain curve is linear for both. Okay, is linear for both. In this method, the factor of safety are applied to the yield stresses to get permissible stresses. Factor of safety is nothing but the ratio of yield stress by permissible stress, right? So if you want to get permissible stresses, you apply factor of safety for yield stress. You get permissible stress. No factor of safety is used for loads because factor of safety is applied only for material in working stress method. Exact margin of safety is not known. Exact margin of safety is not known. This method gives thicker section, so less economical. Thicker section means sections will be more. This method assumes that the actual loads, permissible stresses, and factor of safety are known. That's all. While designing the working stress method, we assume that we know everything. We know actual load, exactly what the load coming on the structure. But that is not same, no? So now let us take an example of designing of slab for BSN block one of the classroom. Okay, here we are designing a slab for BSN block for one of the classroom. Now I'll design using both working stress method and limit state method. In working stress method, what I will do when I will design it as actual load. That means only 60 students will be there, not more than 60 students in any case. Okay, only 16 students will be there. That is what I will consider. Okay, that is actual, and in no case there will be increase in the number of students. Whereas if I analyze the same, why I am talking about students, because students load, your weight on the floor is considered for the design of the slab, including the faculty, chair, table, everything is considered. Okay, so now the same slab, if I design using limit state method, what I will do, I will multiply by that load by 1.5. So what I am taking, I will take 50% more than the actual load. Okay, when I take 50%, if there is increase in by numbers, definitely it will survive. Isn't it? So this is what we consider. This is a difference. This method assumes that actual load, permissible stresses, and factor of safety are known. So it is called as deterministic method. It is called as deterministic method. Limit state method. This method is based on actual stresses or actual stress strain curve of steel and concrete. For concrete, the stress strain curve is a non-linear concrete. Now let me go back. Now look at this. This is actual stress strain curve of the mild steel. Okay, look, this dotted line, this actual stresses. This is conventional, this is assumption, this is how we, this is like based on assumptions or based on the values, assumptions made. This is based on the actual value. Now if we have designed, our intake is 60 students, right? 60 students is what we will design, fine, but is it 60 always? Sometimes there will be less, sometimes there will be more. Okay, in no case we will increase 72, because 60 plus 2, 12 is what we consider, plus diploma students. So no case that will be PIO quota 12 will be there, and 11 members or 12 members diploma. In no case these three values will be exceeded. Okay, that is actual value. That actual value is obtained from this curve. Okay, then this curve is taking only 60%, 60 students, because the intake is 60 students. As per the rules, if we tell the intake of the students in civil department is 60 only. 60 is actual, 60. But when you consider with all the other additional like PIO quotas or like diploma students, actual will be different, right? So that will is given by this. This will take, limit state will consider this curve, and working stress method will stop at this point only. It will not even go to this point. Okay. Dead load are obtained by multiplying factor of safety of load to working load. So factor of safety, as I told, see, look at this. This is a factor of safety, 1.5, 1.2, 1.8, all these are factor of safeties. So actual load is obtained by multiplying factor of safety. No, partial safety factor. Exact margin of safety is known. This method is more economical as it gives thinner section. This method is based upon the probabilistic approach, which depends upon the actual data or experience. Hence, it is called as non-deterministic method. Now, that is about the difference between or the philosophy of design. Okay. Now, you remember you used the word modular ratio in the beginning, during the explanation of working stress method, right? Now we will see what is that modular ratio. and why it is used. Fine. Modular ratio is defined as the ratio between modulus of elasticity of steel and modulus of elasticity of concrete. Why it is used means, as we assume, in the beginning what we have assumed, the stress in the steel is similar to that of stress in the concrete, right? But actually it is not. Okay, actually it is not. So what they will do, they will take the help of this ratio and they'll convert the stresses from concrete similar to that of steel. Okay, they just convert it. They give some additional support for the concrete to convert, to get the value same as steel. That is what it is done with the help of modular ratio. That is all. Fine. Reinforced concrete is made up of two materials. That is materials, concrete and steel. Materials, concrete and steel. Since both the materials are different in the stress strain diagram of both will be different. The stress strain diagram are different for both. Okay. To make one stress diagram for both, this material or area of steel has to be converted to area of equivalent concrete. Okay. See, now the stresses developed will be more or different. The area of steel and concrete will also be more different. Correct? Area of steel has to be converted to area of equivalent concrete, maintaining the line of action of the forces same. Okay. Now, there are two things to consider. One, area-wise material considered. Okay. The other one is the stresses developed and the strain developed in this. If you want to consider brittle material as elastic, that should be strengthened. The concrete should be strengthened. Okay. If you have to take the areas to be same, then the steel area should be to be increased to make the area equivalent to concrete. So both will be considered with the help of this modular ratio. Okay. Why this is? Because of the influence of creep. Okay. Creep is nothing but the extension of crack. And we will see what is creep and all. Hence, area of steel multiplied by modular ratio will give equivalent area of concrete. That will replace the area of steel. Hence, working stress method on the concept of modular ratio, it is also called as modular method of design. Okay, modular ratio method or modular method of design. So what they do in this, they multiply or they take a factor called modular ratio and multiply with steel to make steel area and concrete area same. Okay, if they're making steel area and concrete area same, the investment will go like anything. Correct? I'll tell you how. In future, when we design, no, steel area is provided only 4 times maximum of 4% of a whole of concrete area. Now, if you want to convert that 4 to equal to concrete, how much investment should have been done? Correct? So that when you involve more, you'll come to understand. You'll understand that. Now, alternatively, the steel area AST provided may be converted to equivalent concrete area with the help of this equation M into AST. What is that M? M stands for modular ratio. In working stress method, okay, is work based on formula given in the clause. This we will see, we will see in the code. Again, they've given the code. In the code, they have mentioned M is equals to 280 divided by 3 into permissible bending stresses. Okay, permissible bending stresses. Now, this is about modular ratio, and modular ratio is used in working stress method only. It is not using limit state method. Why it is not in limit state method? Why not why only in working stress method? The real strength of the structure is not completely utilized by this structure. The structure, that means, as I told you, there is more safety zone in limit state method. Okay, there is more safety zone. Hence, again multiplying, again taking extra reinforcement is not required. First only they would have taken partial safety factor. On that, it is, if you take a modular ratio, it will be like an example of having pass and taking a ticket in bus when you travel in a bus. Okay, you'll have pass for a whole year, but still you will take a ticket when you travel in a bus. So it will be like that. So usually you will not take a ticket when you travel bus if you have pass, right? Similarly, here also we will not apply modular ratio. Instead, we will apply partial safety factor in the beginning itself. The modular ratio design will end up giving a structure with a large percentage of steel and uneconomical design. Okay. Now, this is okay. This is about working stress method. Fine. The differences and modular ratio. And let me end this second hour, this session at this slide. Fine. Now I'll give a quiz again, float a quiz again. You take a 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and quickly finish the quiz, and we will again start the session 4th hour.